Yeah, well, let's get into it. But before we do that, I just got a text message from someone who watches Rutgers, the voice of college football, saying that they like the picture of Ethan better than they like seeing me on the screen.
Oh,
Now,
that's
let me tell you something. I'm an acquired taste, so give it some time. But when I think of people playing in the NFL, let's talk about maybe running backs, defensive backs, wide receivers. I want someone who runs a 4.4. I want someone who's long and lean, and I want someone who's tough. So I'm a little bit skeptical if these Rutgers players are going to measure up. So why don't we start out by talking about the obvious name in the room, one of Rutgers' greatest stars, Don Bosco graduate, Kyle Monangai. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so you said you wanted someone with a 4.4. He runs a 4.6, which is a little slow for a running back, especially when you get into some of these linemen that are running almost 4.6s themselves. But you look at Monangai, right? Running back, 5'9", 209, which it's a little on the thick side for a running back, but that's okay. He's sneaky athletic, uses his body really well. He went to Don Bosco Prep High School. Too many awards to even name while at Rutgers. First team All Big Ten, team captain, just to name a few. One of the best running backs in program history, not named Ray Rice. He was a Scarlet Knight all 4 years of eligibility. And last year he had 1,279 yards, 5 per carry, 14 total touchdowns. And the strength that he has that I think scouts are really going to love, 0 fumbles. Now you look at some of these other guys, they'll get 4 or 5 in a season. He has 0. So we talked about the 4.6 40, and a lot of pages were saying Blake Corum similarities, which I can see because Blake Corum's a little bit on the smaller side, but sneaky athletics, kind of like Monangai. So some of the strengths listed on Monangai's scouting report, according to a Steelers website, actually, because that is one team that could draft him, is contact balance, very good at staying on his feet off of a slight push when the guy doesn't really tackle him, very shifty, sneaky good lateral quickness, and his leg drive speed when getting tackled, pushing through when there's guys on the O-line, guys on the D-line. He's very good at staying on his feet. Now, some of the weaknesses, right? Long speed. When he gets out into the open field, he's not very good at running down to the end zone. Some guys are going to catch up to him, and it's unfortunate, but not every running back is perfectly well-rounded. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for these guys to get developed. And another weakness he has, inconsistent run line discipline. Sometimes he'll give up on the play a little too early, and he'll either run up the middle or he'll try to run outside, and he won't get as many yards as if he stayed within the zone. He has pass protecting issues, but I mean, that's not really a running back's job. That's just kind of a plus if they have it. He's projected day 3. I kind of see him as like a Philip Lindsay-esque steal for day 3. That's sort of my analysis.
No, I think that's a great analysis, and you make some really great points. And for those of you who are watching, we want you to call in and give us your comments about what you think about this, because the draft is coming up in less than 50 days. And really, some of the landing spots for these players is uncertain. So when you talk about Kyle Monangai, I'm a Bergen Catholic graduate. Don Bosco Prep was our rival. I know all too well how outstanding he was at Don Bosco. So what's the tail of the tape on Kyle Monangai? Well, we know he's a great player with a lot of grit, speed, and did a fantastic job for Rutgers. He's 5'8", 211 pounds. His hand is 9 inches long. Now, I don't know how that happens because I measured my hand and it was 6 inches. I don't know where these hands get so big, but regardless, his prospect grade is 6.0. And according to the Combine Scout, 6.0 means that a person has the traits or talent to be an average or above average backup. So on his production score at the Combine, he ranked 21st. Athleticism, he ranked 24th. His total score was 22nd. His 40-yard dash was 4.6 seconds. 10-yard split was 1.54 seconds. Now, the vertical jump is impressive, 34.5 inches. When I saw that, I tried to do a vertical jump, and I measured it 14 inches. So that is something that's impressive. Broad jump, 9 feet, 9 inches.
You think we're going to see any reverse hurdles over the Jacksonville Jaguars?
We could. I mean, who knows? But, I think what we're looking at is a guy who has great leadership capabilities. He's compact. He's muscular. His quickness is very impressive. He makes elusive cuts in the open field. He does have a low center of gravity that allows him to make those kind of lateral cuts, and he can absorb contact and stay intact. So it's difficult for defenses to bring him down. But I think some of the weaknesses, like you alluded to, is he drags his back foot on the turf to gather weight before his cut. He also isn't able to drift and read for as long as he should, and he has short strides that make it harder for him to run away after stopping his feet. And ultimately, I think it's the lack of size and technique to pick up the blitz when he's blocking. So my contrarian view, as much as I hate to say it, I love you, Kyle Monangai. I don't see someone 5'8", running a 4'6", weighing 211 pounds playing in the NFL. I think Monangai is one of the best in Rutgers history, but I think his career ends there.
So when it comes to the weight, right, I mean, that can fluctuate very quickly. The height, not so much. The shiftiness, a little bit. But when it comes to weight, right, that can come and go in an instant. We know he's disciplined, right? He looked amazing within our system. And we know that he's a team player. He's a leader. So I have a feeling that you're wrong on this. And, I'm not going to be saying this for everybody because only so many players get drafted. Only so many make the NFL. And the NFL is light years ahead of college talent, just like college to high school. But when it comes to him, I believe that while he doesn't pass the eye test, so to say, of what a running back should look like when it comes to their physique, what he does have is the heart. And, I believe it was Nate Robinson who coined the phrase heart over height. And, he's not 6'1", and he's not Marshawn Lynch, and he's also not an Austin Eckler, but he's somewhere in the middle of that. And he likes to go both ways when it comes to his running back talents. So I do believe that he'll be a successful running back in the NFL, maybe a solid 5-7 year career out of it.
Well, I love it when we disagree because that's what we want on this show. We want different perspectives. Maybe I'm wrong and maybe you're right, but here's what I'll say. Reggie Bush ran a 4.3. He was explosive at USC. He was not in the NFL. And the reason is because linebackers also run 4.6 40s. And I don't think that Monangai is going to be able to either overpower, outrun, or outslant any of the speedy linebackers in the NFL who are not only as fast, but they are, bigger. So what I would say is I admire Kyle Monangai. I think that what he did for Rutgers and the heart that he showed is incredible. But my conclusion is, Monangai, you're finished. You're going to have a great career in whatever you do, and you are a great man. But I do not see a career in the NFL, and I see him being an undrafted free agent who will be cut from the practice squad in August.
See, it's funny you say that because I feel like, he's projected to get drafted. Like, it's not even a reach or a bias thing to for him to say that he'll get drafted. And, I'm not saying this guy will be a superstar or anything like that, but you were talking about his speed. He doesn't rely on his speed, though. That's the thing. He relies on his physicality. And obviously, linebackers in the NFL are way more physical than in college. But some of the guys that he'll be facing in the NFL, when he at least gets to the practice squad of a team, are guys that he has faced in college. And, when it comes to these running backs, right, they're going to be able to squat 400, deadlift 300, 400, whatever it may be, and get stronger and focus more on their strength to be able to overpower these guys, i.e. Saquon, i.e. Melvin Gordon. Some of these guys, obviously, those are extreme examples. But when you're small and you rely on your physicality, you have to work way harder. And I believe that he is capable of doing so.
Yeah, I think you make great points. And like I said, you might be right. But my feeling is that your emotions and your desire for him to be successful are outweighing just an objective analysis of the facts. Now, that may sound mean, but as an attorney, I can tell you people say many, many more mean things to me every day. And I also know that I'm wrong more than I'm right. So maybe Gabe is right here. But when I see someone like Christian McCaffrey, 5'11", out of Stanford, 4.48 40-yard dash, great football IQ. That's the kind of person that I could project becoming elite in the NFL. And when you think about it, every year in the NFL, how many really good running backs are there? We really don't talk that much about how many good running backs there are. We talk about how many great quarterbacks and receivers we have, but we don't talk about how many great running backs there are because it's so hard to be a successful running back. You know, I'm 5'8". I think that his height and his 4'6", 40 makes it implausible for him to be able to succeed in the NFL. But when I say that, I think he's an amazing guy. And I know he has the heart, and that might lead him to get placed on an NFL team, and maybe he's a 4th or 5th round pick, and maybe he will have a 5 to 7 year career. But is he going to be a game changer for any team? I don't think so. I think the best hope for him is to be placed on a team with a great offensive line, with great balance on offense, where in certain situations he can have an impact. And I hope he does that because we're all rooting for him.
Absolutely. And he's not just an amazing guy. He's a Monangai.
That's right. Absolutely. And let me tell you something, Kyle. If you don't make it in the NFL, nothing wrong with going to law school. Give me a call. Trust me, it'll be all right.
Use that as motivation. Get to the NFL.
Yes, you know, we'll see. And I look forward to evaluating the players, not just who are, you know, going into potentially the NFL this year, but those who are up and coming for 2025, that spring game. Looking forward to attending that and hope to see you there. And we'll see what the future of Rutgers looks like.